wants to go. Good evening and welcome to the Franchise Tag Podcast with me, your host, Freddie Hall, and co-host Adam. He is here as well. And a very special guest tonight, we have Andrew Gamble, journalist for the Daily Mirror, Daily Star and the Daily Express, formerly of the Independent and founder of the British Playbook. A fantastic guest to have on to talk all things NFL as we go ever closer to it's playoff season. We're finally here, playoff season. It feels like so long ago that September came and went. We had Dallas Cowboys against the Bucks. The Bucks beat them that first Thursday night game, and now we're all the way here with 7 teams, including my Steelers. I mean, all we didn't need was a tie, and it nearly was a tie. I mean, it cannot be written. The Jags beating the Colts. I was very downbeat last podcast about it, Andrew, but I have a new lease of life in me now that I get to see Big Ben crash out of the playoffs to the Kansas City Chiefs, probably.
Crash is definitely the right word for Big Ben as well.
Well, he ain't no pilot, and he's going to have to pilot this planes, to be fair. So we'll have to see what happens. But Andrew, again, thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining the Franchise Tag Podcast this evening. Have you been following all the NFL very closely, as I can imagine?
Yeah, I mean, it's been just an absolutely insane season. I think we've gotten to playoff time now, and I'm just so excited because it's like, not only is it the playoffs, but it feels like anyone can legitimately beat anyone. Maybe not the Steelers against the Chiefs, unfortunately. But
been here 5 minutes and I'm getting out.
We're going to start as we need to go on. No, but it's just an unbelievable season. Like, it's just been probably one of my favorite seasons I can remember. Like, it's just been unbelievable. Some of the storylines, throughout the year, Urban Meyer, like that feels like years ago, but that is just truly unbelievable what happened there. So yeah, just an incredible year.
Well, we had Antonio Brown to thank for just sort of scooping that story to us. I mean, as a journalist, you've had definitely a lot to be able to report on and to watch, as well as outside, as well as all the other sports. But NFL has been particularly crazy at times, as we all know. What was your earliest memory of getting into NFL, Andrew? Do you follow a particular team, or are you one of these people that follow players you like? What's going on Sundays in your household?
Yeah, it's interesting because I've got family in Boston, so I'm very blessed in that regard that I've been able to follow the New England Patriots and kind of have my own actual reason to support them rather than be like they're winning, let's go. But yeah, no, it's funny. How did I get sport? I got into it. I bought Madden 2003 on the Nintendo GameCube when I was a toddler, and I literally didn't know anything about it whatsoever. And that was genuinely my route in. Had Marshall Faulk on the cover, and yeah, just absolutely since then it's just been my thing. Yeah, absolutely love it.
I think it is crazy, isn't it? Because that's one thing that I feel like a lot of people over in this country, that's how we all got into it. It was all through Madden, and it's like, because obviously with him, he sadly passed away recently. I just like, we never really spoke about it that much, but it's just such an influence from a guy who had multiple careers, but like Madden really was a massive influence for all of us over here. I
think that's the thing. I think especially with the American sports, I don't think people realize how big kind of the reach of video games can be like around the world for people, especially like kids when they don't know anything and they just kind of want to play those kinds of games. Like, it's such a great way to get into those sports, a great way to learn the teams, learn players, kind of understand the sport in general. So that's kind of my origin story.
And what's even great about it is that like the Madden games is like the last 20 years is how people here have got into NFL. Before that, he was a massive influential commentator and was the color commentator for NFL, the voice of the NFL. That's how other people have got into it. And then before that, it was him being with the Raiders and winning Super Bowls and being a fantastic head coach. And that was what influenced that generation. So he spans like, a good 3 generations of families of seeing him in all different lights and him being just as legendary. And you are right, Adam, we didn't actually mention it at all last week. And our thoughts go out to the Madden family and to everyone who did know him, because he was such an influential person on all the NFL. And he would have loved this week, and he would have been sad this week as well, because it's been a bit of a mental week. We've had the Georgia Bulldogs winning the national championship in the NCAA. They beat Alabama, the formidable Nick Saban's Alabama, Georgia went and beat them. I watched the highlights earlier. I mean, a very good game, a great way to end the game as well, with a pick and pick six. And it's been Black Monday, and our videos went out. I was in a few. Well, I did all the videos that day, but Matt Nagy, GM, and Ryan Pace. Matt Nagy, coach, and Ryan Pace, the GM of the Bears, Chicago Bears, has gone. The head coach of Brian Flores for the Miami Dolphins has gone as well. I mean, that was one that raised a lot of eyebrows. Mike Zimmer and GM Rick Spielman from the Minnesota Vikings also gone as well. However, Joe Judge remains. A lot of the interim coaches seem to be remaining as well. I mean, today there's been lots of interviews out there. Todd Bowles has been interviewed. Doug Peterson has been interviewed by all three teams, I think. Anyone you were surprised about seeing go, Andrew? And do you think that any of these guys we're going to see maybe back next season with different teams?
I think it's got to be Brian Flores. I mean, now I guess we've seen kind of the stories that they had the power struggle with the GM, Chris Greer. That's the GM?
Chris Greer, Chris Greer.
Yeah, that's it, Chris Greer. And it's just insane. I mean, I thought, okay, the Dolphins, well, they were 1-7 at one stage. 7 straight losses was looking pretty tough. But then to go back, bring it all the way back, stay in kind of playoff contention almost against all odds, right up until I think it was the penultimate week when they lost to Tennessee. And it's kind of mind blowing that Brian Flores is gone, because I feel like everyone's kind of been lauding over him for the last couple of seasons. So it'll be interesting to see where he goes, especially with Chicago and whatnot. Those kind of attractive jobs, considering it's it's the Chicago Bears, but like it's also the Chicago Bears. Like they're a massive franchise, an iconic name. So I'd be interesting to see where some of these guys end up. I don't know about Mike Zimmer, whether he'll land a head coaching job again or defensive coordinator or whatnot. But I mean, there's some big names for sure in that pool.
Flores is definitely, he's a DC by trade before he was a head coach. I mean, obviously at the New England Patriots, Adam. But Andrew was exactly right. Look at Chicago, look at Denver. 2 teams with decent names on the defense. Could you see that Brian Flores be attracted to them, with the defensive names they have? And to be fair, the Bears, all right, they're a little bit away offensively, but we've said it before, this Broncos team offensively is not that far away with the names they've got on the sheet.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be calling Chicago decent, but I mean,
they've got some names on the paper as well.
But I have to say, I think Denver is an obvious one for Flores. It really is, and everything that kind of came out was very much there was a bit of a power struggle between him and Greer. There was a lot of conversation that was a bit like one of them wanted Deshaun Watson, the other one didn't. Watson would only come because of Flores, was how it came across. I mean, with that in mind, you got to think, get Flores in any head coaching job and they're probably going to become favorites to take Deshaun Watson as a trade. Denver seem like they're dying for a star quarterback. They have been for ages, and it's their one weakness, and it's what they need. And you feel like that he would be a really good person to have there. As for the rest of them, I don't really see Zimmer, Nagy, or Vic Fangio. I don't see any of them taking a head coaching job. I think they'd all be good, like defensive coordinators or offensive coordinators. But I just feel like the way the NFL's going is they're sort of veering away from that, and they're bringing in younger guys, and it's different now to what it was, say, like 5-6 years ago even. So I can see Flores getting a job, but none of the others as a head coach.
It's a shame that our resident New York Giant isn't joining us tonight, Andrew, and Andrew Manning, our other co-host. He's not here because one person, Andrew, is Joe Judge. People were pretty shocked that Flores went, and some people were shocked for Zimmer when a couple of weeks ago, we talked about coaches that could go. I tossed up between Ron Rivera and Mike Zimmer, went with Ron Rivera to everyone's displeasure. But Joe Judge remains. I mean, there was a QB sneak on 3rd and 9, was it, the other night or something like that, or 4th and 9? It was a ridiculous play call. I feel bad because the quarterback situation has been so hard there this year. Daniel Jones has been injured. In fact, all their teams been injured. Barkley's never really bounced back. Kenny Golladay's been out. All their wide receivers have been injured, really. And defensively, maybe the names that they haven't stepped up. Is that someone you're surprised that they've stuck with there in New York?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, it's just been a bit of a shambles for them really all year, hasn't it? I feel like they never really got the ball rolling. It kind of looked like their offense was going to be quite fun going into the season. You're like kind of rejuvenated, rested. Saquon Barkley coming back, as you say, Daniel Jones as well, who's shown flashes over the last couple of years. I don't know if he still warrants being picked that high in that draft, but I don't know that. And then they signed Kenny Golladay. I think they got some exciting receivers in the draft last year. So and Evan Engram as well at tight end. So it was just, it felt like they could be just a really fun offense, kind of like the Denver Broncos you guys were saying before. They kind of have those fun pieces kind of around on offense, just lacking a quarterback. But I don't know. I was kind of excited to see what happened with the Giants, and then that kind of died pretty quickly. Yeah, I don't really know what happens in New York now. I mean, I guess they're rolling with Joe Judge, which is wild, quite frankly. But yeah, I mean, I guess that's what they're doing, and I feel for their fans.
Well, they are going to have a change at GM. Dave Gettleman has retired, so that is something to excited about in New York, especially when you've got 2 top 10 draft picks. I think it's 2 top 10 draft picks as well. I'm going to have to double check that because I get confused between the Jets and the Giants. Yeah, Giants have got the 5th and the 7th pick. So that'd be an exciting place for any GM to go and turn up there. But enough of that. Let's get on to the playoffs. And the playoffs have finally arrived, like we said. I mean, over the weekend, before the weekend, but the Tennessee Titans, the Green Bay Packers both sealed the number 1 spots, getting that first week bye. The Super Bowl will run through Tennessee or Green Bay, as we can imagine anyway. The Pittsburgh Steelers, the San Francisco 49ers, the Las Vegas Raiders, all snuck in by the skin of their teeth, some of them. Including the Raiders and the Steelers, admittedly. But let's take a look at the final rankings. 1 to 7, the NFC: Green Bay, Bucks, the Cowboys, the Rams, the Cardinals, 49ers, Eagles. We talked about last week. That's pretty much yours, Adam, and Andrew's predictions. I had the Saints sneaking in there. That didn't happen. And outside of the Steelers with 1 to 7, the Titans, the Chiefs, the Bills, Bengals, Raiders, Patriots, and Steelers, we all had the Colts getting in there because we thought that would be pretty possible. Andrew, this 7 on both sides of the AFC and the NFC, are you surprised? Is there anyone that you're not sure should be in there? Is there a team that you think should be in there instead? Are you happy with who is going to go on to the playoffs here?
Look, I think the fun thing about the playoffs is the teams have earned their way there. The ones that have actually made it, they do deserve to be there. Having said that, I'm gonna
being a Steelers fan, I really don't agree with any of that statement.
No, I mean like Pittsburgh, they're a fun team. Is it fun to watch Ben Roethlisberger amble downfield? No, but he gets the job done. They won the game. It was maybe the most painful game-winning drive I've ever watched in my life, but they got it done, and you got to respect that. I would have liked to see the Chargers in just because, I think just that game against the Raiders kind of shows. I feel like every time I watch Justin Herbert, I just fall more in love with him. He is just the way he thinks on his feet. He goes through his reads so quickly, and he just has an absolute cannon. He lasers it. There's no kind of arc on the ball. It just zips to them. Some of those throws on 4th down against the Raiders, just incredible. So it's a bit of a shame that he didn't make it, but you know what? The Steelers are in. That's going to be great against the Chiefs. It'll be fun to see if TJ Watt is fully fit against them, because that'll be just a cool offense against defensive matchup. Other than that, I think I'm feeling pretty good. I think it's a fun playoffs. I think anyone can beat anyone. I think it's just going to be really, really entertaining to watch over the next few weeks.
Well, yeah, anyone can beat anyone in the playoffs. So we'll go through some of these games. The first game being the first wildcard game being at 9:30. 6 o'clock on Sunday. That's completely lie. On Saturday at 9:30, it's the Raiders at the Bengals. They did meet in Week 11 in November. The Bengals coming away with a 32-13 win there at Las Vegas. That was as well. Mixon on the day, having 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. Heck of a game for him, that game. They're going to the Bengals, a team that's at a new stadium, been indoors. You're going to a cold Cincinnati against probably the most on-form team at the minute, outside of maybe Green Bay. I would argue, Adam. I saw that little smirk show and go, hang on a minute, my Green Bay Packers have been incredibly on form. But, the Raiders are coming up against one of the best quarterback wide receiver duos this year, Andrew, with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. Who could you see running away with the win here?
Yeah, it's. I think that's probably might be my most like the game I really want to watch this weekend, because it's just two fun teams. Like the teams that haven't been in the playoffs last few seasons. It'll be really cool to see what happens. I think Cincinnati will win. I think it could be closer than people realize. Max Crosby is different. Like that man is been incredible this season. And I think that Bengals offensive line is still a bit shaky. But of course, that offense is just ridiculous, and they're so fun. Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, they've just been so fun to watch over the last few weeks. And yeah, really nice to see them turn the franchise around. So I think Cincinnati will do it, and they'll roll on, I think.
Yeah, it's great seeing another AFC North team do really well. So they have the 7th best passing offense, Adam, and the passing defense rated the 13th in the league, rushing defense 19th. Is this going to be a bit of a gunslinging show? Joe Burrow, Derek Carr also got a nice arm as well. Both have got a subpar defense is not the right word, but middle of the road defense. Some weeks they can really step up, like Andrew said. And Max Crosby is just an animal, but also that tandem of Henderson and Hendrickson, and forget the other guy on the other side for the Bengals is also a great tandem as well. What do you think is going to be happening in Cincinnati?
Yeah, the Bengals defensively, they've struggled, haven't they, against the pass? I think is the thing that they struggle against the most. That's the one issue that they have.
26th in the league.
Yeah, but they're still very good. And the fact is like if you can go and you can play against the Chiefs and beat them, despite some interesting coaching towards the end of it, it goes to show that that offense has got enough there to get them a very long way. I don't think it will get them all the way, but I think it will be enough to get them past the Raiders. We've always come out and said with the Raiders, I've been saying it for ages, they always find a way to lose. The only reason they won that last game was because they were up against another team that finds a way to lose. That's the reason they got through. I like Derek Carr. I think he's been really good this season. I think I saw that has he thrown for 4,800 yards or something? And he's been really good this year. And I think it was only like a couple of hundred less than Herbert. So it goes to show that he's definitely, he's always been very underrated, Derek Carr. But I think going away to the Bengals, who realistically most of their starters had the week off last week, I think that's going to be a bit of a tough ask for them.
Well, we talked about drama at the start of the show. There's been a lot of drama in the Raiders, and I do feel like the Raiders squad sort of come out there with a point to prove every week, which can be that sort of fire can carry you to championship games and Super Bowls, which is mad to think about the Raiders, but honestly, that sort of fire can really carry you. Next game we're talking about is the 1:15 in the morning, Saturday into Sunday, the Patriots at the Bills. So, Andrew, I'm sure you're going to be very happy to talk about this one. Obviously met twice in the division already this year. Both have win apiece. You beat them the first time in Buffalo 14-10. The Bills then beat you guys in New England 33-21. Very contrasting games. You ran all over them in the first game. 111 yards and a touchdown for Harris, and for Ramondre Stevenson, 78 yards, 24 carries. Mac Jones threw the ball 3 times that game. And then the same game was contrasting, really. But Harris still got 103 yards and 3 touchdowns. But little old unknown Isaiah McKenzie, 125 yards and a touchdown. He had his breakout game. As a Pats fan, you've watched every game. You've watched 2 games against the Bills already. You know this team very, very well. Both teams very, very well, I suppose. Where's this heading here?
I think unless our MVP from the first game turns up, and I mean the weather, I think unless that happens again, I think I didn't expect us to make the playoffs this season. I didn't think the Patriots would reach the postseason. I think you have to say Mac Jones' rookie season, he's gone off the boil, I think, the last couple of games. Don't know whether it's more tape or pressure in these moments, but I think you have to just say that his rookie season has been a success. We're in the postseason. I think that's unbelievable, really, given last season and how good the Bills are. Buffalo, they have talent everywhere, and I think they'll probably win this weekend, unfortunately. But it's been a good run for the Patriots. I think Buffalo, at the end of the day, I think they're kind of in that bracket of those kind of elite conference teams that you can see break into make a run to the Super Bowl. Whereas I don't think New England are quite at that level yet. And I just think that's how it goes, unless of course Bill Belichick pulls another masterclass out the hat. But Sean McDermott's a great coach as well. So either way, I think Buffalo probably come away with the win, unless, as you say, Harris has an absolute stormer. But I'm sure Buffalo will be ready for that. So yeah, I'm gonna painfully go with Buffalo to win that one.
Well, Buffalo. Sorry, go on after you.
So I was just going to ask, have you been a little bit surprised by how well some of the players have done this year? I mean, Harris was always one that was kind of like he was there, but he didn't take the mantle as the number one running back until this year. But he's really shown how good he is. A lot of new players to bed in from free agency and a lot of draft picks coming in. I mean, I know you said you're a little bit surprised that they've made it this far, but almost like, has it, the way they play, it feels very much like how they used to play. They brought Mac Jones in and they've done really well. So, I mean, should we really be shocked that they've got this far, or is it just, quite surprising that players like Harris have done as well as they have?
Yeah, I think you're totally right. I think as we kind of grew into the season, I think people started to we definitely turned heads. At the start of the year, I think there was a point where we were 6-2 or something. And it was, I think at that point, everyone was like, okay, wow, like New England are back. But it was very much like the team of, you don't want to say Mac Jones, compare him to Tom Brady. Yeah. It was very much that kind of mold, like a very accurate pocket passer who leans on the run game and the defense make plays. And I think that's what we saw this season. We saw a lot of guys, Carl Duggar has been brilliant this year. JC Jackson has kind of elevated his game again. And to be honest, Matt Judon, I when we signed him, I was like, okay, cool. This is, we need another body on defense. This is great. But he was fantastic that first half of the season in particular. I don't know if he's kind of run out of steam as we get towards the end, but yeah, I think you're right. As the season's gone, I don't think we should be surprised. I think very much New England have deserved that wild card spot. And I think they are a wild card team, but they also scream wild card exit, unfortunately. So I think that's how it goes. But it's been a good year for sure.
Obviously, Adam, we've not seen the Patriots in the Super Bowl for a number of years. So, do they really need another Super Bowl adding to their belt? Do you think they're going to get past the Bills, or do you think the Bills can finally, they've been AFC Championship games for last year, and they seem to always make the great run. They're always the one that everyone says this team's going to go to the Super Bowl this year. Is that going to be, the start of it this weekend?
I mean, the Bills are a very strong team, aren't they? And it kind of feels like with the Patriots, as you were saying, it feels it's a little bit like that Tom Brady era light is how it feels a little bit at the moment. And that's probably going to be enough to stop them, to be honest. Really like Harris, think he'll do really well for them, keep doing really well for them. But in this particular game, one-off, I think the Bills are just, they're at home as well. They're just going to be that bit too strong, I think. And I think they're going to be a tough team to get past, is what we said, wasn't it, from day one? So I don't really see much changing.
I can imagine a lot of tables will be broken prior to the game, as it's such a highly heated game as it is for the Buffalo Bills. Let's move on to Sunday, though. Let's get yourself strapped in your chair, get the snacks and get the beers in, because you're not going to be moving for probably about 10 hours. 6 p.m., Eagles at the Bucks. They met in week 6. The Bucks beating the Eagles narrowly 28-22. Brady on the day, 297 yards, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. However, his favorite target of that day was Antonio Brown. 9 receptions, 93 yards, touchdown. Not got him anymore. This team, Andrew, last year really did the exact same thing. This year did the exact same thing they did last year, where they started so hot, had a little horrible run, and then exploded again. The problem this year is they don't seem to have exploded again going into the playoffs. His defense still hasn't hit the heights that we've seen just yet. Tom Brady is elite, potentially MVP. Aaron Rodgers next to him, obviously. I think Rodgers would win it, but Brady's certainly in the conversation. And as you know Tom Brady so well, such a successful quarterback. The Eagles, Adam has said a lot of times, they're the one team I don't want to face in the playoffs because they seem to be hitting some form and they seem to have found their formula. Do you think Tom Brady does what Tom Brady does in the playoffs, or the Eagles might have their number? To Andrew, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay. Sorry, I didn't make myself clear, to be fair.
I think it's going to be. I think it'll be a good game. I think it's going to be quite similar to the kind of the Washington football team game against the Bucks last year in the wild card round. I think the Eagles could play the Buccaneers a bit closer than perhaps people think. I think it might go on longer than the Bucs hope for. But yeah, the loss of Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin's done for the season. I say loss of Antonio Brown. He literally left, decided to leave. No Chris Godwin. They're going to rely on Mike Evans and some of those other guys a whole lot more. Some of their backup receivers, Brashard Perryman and Scotty Miller. I think Tom Brady makes it work with kind of whoever's there on the field. Like, he'll make them make plays. He won a Super Bowl with Chris Hogan as his leading receiver. Like, I love Chris Hogan, but come on. And I think the Bucs will be all right. I think it's I don't know if they're the same team as last season in terms of their four. I mean, they're doing the same thing. Whether it carries them to the Super Bowl, we'll see. But I think as well, it's not great for Philadelphia in terms of the matchup. So it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. Jalen Hurts will have to play out his mind to get any sort of result from that game. But I think it definitely is going to be a fun one to watch.
Adam, you've had the Bucs tipped from the start to go to the Super Bowl, and I really loved Andrew's analogy. I think it will be very much like the Washington game, but the Eagles are better than Washington. This would not shock me if this is a 2-minute drill, Tom Brady storming down the field sort of situation, and it could go really close. But is there any way the Eagles come out of this winning?
No, unfortunately not. But I don't think. I think they, like I said, I really do feel like they found their thing. The Eagles. I think they've done really well. I think Goddard's been great. I think Hurts has been great, and I wasn't expecting them to get the Bucs. I must say, I thought that either the Cowboys or the Rams would get the second seed, which would be a much better matchup for the Eagles. Yeah, going away to the Bucs. I mean, you've got Brady, who it doesn't seem to matter who's there. It really doesn't. It's like whoever's there, he can get the job done. They will miss Godwin. I think missing Fournette is going to be a big thing for them as well. But for this game, I think they will be too strong for them. But I wouldn't. It's not going to be a washout completely for the Eagles. I think the Bucs will just nick it and get through.
I think even if I went to Tampa Bay, I'd be coming out with 600 yards, 2 touchdowns. And that was with zero athleticism. What's great about this matchup is the Eagles are the number one running offense in the league. However, the Bucs are the third best rushing defense in the league. Eagles wise, 11th best passing defense, 9th best rushing defense, and the Bucs are the number one passing offense. So when you look at that, it screams fireworks. But what I really think it screams is these are two teams that are equally matched in what they do best. And it could really, it could be very low scoring. And I can definitely see Brady doing the 2-minute drill down and passing it to, I don't know, any one of the unnamed wide receivers that we don't know that he's been thrown to a lot of these weeks. The next game, 9:30, like I said, you've got to be drinking your beer, you've got to be having your snacks, you're going to be in the chair a long time. 49ers at the Cowboys. They didn't meet in the season. This is a game I don't think many of us would have predicted because a lot of people had the 49ers dipping in and out with seeding and stuff like that. This didn't meet in the season makes it even more interesting because I think they are the only, I believe, this is the only game that didn't meet in season. All the rest of the playoff teams have played each other before in season. So it's going to be an incredibly interesting game. The 49ers have not been the boom that we thought they have, but have been, their defense is back. Their defense has been a lot better because of the lack of injuries this year, whereas last year they were just so injury riddled. Nick Bosa has been so good. The Cowboys really, came out of the gun firing at the start, slowed down a little bit, getting a bit found out. Trayvon Diggs, we said it on this podcast, defensive player of the year. However, he's allowed the most passing yards as well. So, you get all his interceptions, but he's an aggressive player. It's quite an equally matched, a weird matchup, this one, because it's a high-power offense in the Cowboys, but a pretty decent defense. 49ers not known for a high-power offense, but have definitely got weapons around. Deebo Samuel, who every time he gets the ball in his hand, seems to make magic. Andrew, where do you see this one going in Dallas?
It's a hard one to call. I think.
Yeah, it's the hardest game to call, I think.
Yeah, I think as you kind of said, the 49ers have come back this year, got that defense back. I think everyone forgot how good San Francisco were the year before, like 2019. I think everyone kind of forgot that because they had no one on defense last year. Everyone was injured. They've kind of come back kind of under the radar this year. And I don't know. I just think San Francisco, I mean, it got proved against the Rams this weekend. They're a hard team to play, especially in games when it's like a must-win game. Kyle Shanahan's he's a clever coach in terms of running the ball and just winding the clock down. They just win games. And then with a weapon like Deebo Samuel, who I know I've seen some people claiming, is he the like all-round best player in football? And it's a solid argument. Like him and Aaron Donald, I think, you'd have to put pretty high up the list. So I think where does this go? I think I'm edging towards San Francisco. I just think it would just scream, the 2021 NFL season that the high-flying Cowboys go in. They've had the kind of the stud defensive players in Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs, and it would just be peak NFL for the 49ers to just come in and just run all over them and just come out with an ugly win, but a win nonetheless. So I think I'm edging to San Francisco, but it is very tight, this one.
Is Jimmy G starting?
I'm
not
think
sure if
so.
He's going to be.
I would assume so, simply because he played on Sunday, and his hand's obviously hurting, but it's the playoffs. Come on, he's got to play.
Right. For some reason in my mind, I remember Trey Lance. Did Trey Lance come into the game, or did they play? I don't remember. I watched all the highlights sort of back to back, and all the names got confused. Adam, Jimmy, you are not exactly the biggest supporter of Jimmy G. You never have been, never will be. I don't think, even if he does defeat the Cowboys in Dallas and progresses them on. Have they got a chance here? I feel like everyone writes the Cowboys off a lot, but yet they're proving they are good. They are good. Like, even at the start of the year, I was not convinced the Cowboys would be good. I didn't think they'd win the division. Or if they did, it would be quite close. And yeah, it has been a little bit close again with Philadelphia in the division. But they've looked awesome at times. Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb, Zeke, Dak, they look incredible. And like Andrew said, two stud defensive players this year in Trayvon Diggs and Micah Parsons as well, who will be Rookie Defensive Player of the Year. What have you got going on here?
Yeah, I mean, as you know, not a fan of Jimmy G, never have been. But he seems to be getting it done a little bit at the moment. I think this is what I've always said about Jimmy G. He will always get you wins. He will always get you playoff wins. He will not get you a Super Bowl win. That's what I've always said about him. I think that defense is doing really well at the moment, and everything about it wants me to say that the Cowboys are going to win, because I think that if we end up playing the 49ers again, we'll probably lose as the Packers, and that's how it'll all go wrong. But the Cowboys just have this ability to drop an absolute clanger every time. And the 49ers are a well-coached defense. They're a strong team. And I just think that's what's probably going to happen again. The only thing that makes me feel it's slightly different this year is that the Cowboys have got a very good defense. Dan Quinn's been in there, been saying it all year, done really, really well there. If the Cowboys have got any leeway with him, they want to keep him there. The last thing they want is to lose him. But when it comes to the 49ers, I just think in one-off games, they're decent. And I don't know how the Cowboys are going to match up against Kittle. That's the other thing. He's such a big, strong tight end that I think the 49ers will just snake by. I think it'll be really good. It'll be a really close game, but I'm going to go for the 49ers as well.
I think 49ers have got big game players. They've got big game players, and George Kittle and Deebo Samuel, Nick Bosa, players like that. We seem to think that the Cowboys defense is really good, but they're actually 20th in passing defense and 16th in rushing defense. And the 49ers defense are 6th in passing defense and 7th in rushing defense. So I do think there is that sort of, with the 49ers, when I look at they're 7th in rushing offense, 12th in passing offense, 6th in sacks. Like, statistically looking at that, they are definitely the better team. However, when I look visually at them, the eye test, I go, no, I think the Cowboys are the better team because they seem to impress more. But statistically wise, it looks like the 49ers will run over them. But I think that's why I think they've got bit more big game players, though Amari Cooper's fantastic and CeeDee Lamb, Zeke. It's sometimes a little bit of do they turn up? Sometimes it feels like they don't all turn up at the same time. It seems one or the other turns up. We then go into the early hours, Saturday and Sunday into Monday, which obviously I'm ecstatic about, having to stay up till 1:15 in the morning to watch the Steelers at the Chiefs and watch maybe the Steelers lose to the Chiefs. We met in the season, though, 36-10 to the Chiefs. That was in Kansas. The well-known receiver Byron Pringle, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns that day, which really says all it has to say about the Steelers. Secondary. Najee Harris did have 93 yards with no touchdowns on the day. Andrew, obviously, I've been watching Steelers all season long. I know the honest truth about them. Have they got hope against the Chiefs? I mean, the Chiefs. The problem is the Chiefs have hit form. Chiefs for the first 5 weeks, we all said, what is going on with this team? Why is this happening? Why is Mahomes trying too hard to be showy when he needs to go back to doing the basics right? Why is this defense not performing that we know it could be performing at? And then that's like statistically wise, they are really quite low in all of it all. But really, the eye test, the last 6 weeks, they've been one of the top teams in the NFL again.
Yeah, I think the Chiefs are a weird one. I think they came into the season, everyone was so excited for them to Patrick Mahomes leading this high flying offense that's like been all conquering really for the last 2 seasons. 3 seasons even. They've made the championship game each of the last 3 years. I just think, I think for Pittsburgh to have a chance, I think they not only do the Chiefs of the first 5 games need to kind of turn up, but I think Ben Roethlisberger of 10 years ago kind of needs to turn up as well. I think it's just it's that kind of game. It could happen. It's the NFL. Any given Sunday, it could happen. It's not. I'm afraid. Yeah. I think Kansas will ease through. We'll see how late I end up staying up, depending on how that goes. To be honest.
Oh, but if it gets to halftime and we're like, I don't know, 24-6, maybe I might have halftime sleep as well. I'm just turn off all notifications. Adam, you shake your head. I want to say furiously, but it was more lightly because I know you're a pleasant guy. You don't upset me. We got no hope. Have we got no hope?
No, you've got no hope. Just accept it.
We've got the sack leader. We've got one of the rookie offensive players of the year in National Harris. We've got Deontay Johnson, a top wide receiver. Yeah. We've got Minka Fitzpatrick. People think is one of the best safeties in the league. However, I've been watching week on week. Don't really know why he got to the Pro Bowl. We have no corners. What? Where are my positives? Can I get any positives?
No, I said no.
Any positives?
Look, I think, as you said, you've got Deontay Johnson. He's a great mover of the chains. He's ideal for Big Ben. You've got Baby Gronk, so that in old Frymouth there, that's a positive. Another mover of the chains. It's all very slow. That's the problem. It's just
the chains don't move very quick down the field.
Yeah. I mean, bless him, Roethlisberger. He struggled against the Ravens. It was a struggle, and there was one point near the end of the game on that last drive. He looked like he was going to run. I was genuinely worried for him. He looked like he was going to run. You could see it was almost like his head went, "I can do this," and his legs went, "No." And it's a real struggle. And in fairness, your biggest weakness is against the run. That's the worst weakness all year it's been. And when it comes to the Chiefs, they're not that great when it comes to the run. So you've got a positive there that your biggest weakness might not be exploited.
Yeah.
But I mean, like you said, your corners have struggled. I mean, you've got Tyreek Hill out there. What more do you want?
I ain't bothered about Tyreek Hill, man. I'm bothered about Byron Pringle. He's doing the business over us. I don't care about Tyreek Hill. I've got Byron Pringle and McCole Hardman and all these other guys.
It's
obviously the best tight end in the league.
It's going to be very tough to get anything out of that game, and the Chiefs look like they're on a really good run.
That they've caught fire very quickly. Yeah. What I did really enjoy in that game against the Ravens was there was a Ravens sign saying "Thank you, Big Ben, for the rivalry all these years." I thought that was a really classy move by Baltimore, because it's been such a great run, and I'm happy it's coming to an end, admittedly, and I'm happy it's coming to the end in the playoffs actually, because it is going to be nice for him. I think the Kansas City fans are going to cheer for him and everything like that. I think that'd be really good. So and then it'll be finally what I've wanted for a year, 2 years, the new era in Pittsburgh. Let's go on to the final game. again, a really hot matchup here. Divisional rivalry on Monday into Tuesday, 1:15 in the morning. The Arizona Cardinals at the LA Rams. They obviously have met in the season twice, divisional, and I believe they have one apiece as well. The Cardinals beat them in LA 37-20, and then the Rams beat them in Arizona 30-23. Two really exciting offenses here, Andrew. I mean, DeAndre Hopkins, Cooper Kupp, AJ Green, who seem to, found like Tyler Higbee's been fantastic tight end for them this year. You get OBJ in the mix. We get Chase Edmonds, James Conner in the mix, Darrell Henderson, Sony Michel in the mix. There is a lot going on in this game and a lot to be excited about, as well as Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey. It could be fireworks in LA. It usually is.
Yeah, it's for sure. Two kind of offenses made for a game in Hollywood. This is it. Like, this is why they play the game. It'll be a great game to watch. It'd be interesting to see, because as you say, like one win apiece. That first game was I think that was like the Cardinals at their peak almost. I think they had such a great run to open the season. Kyler Murray just obviously was in the MVP conversation, probably leading the MVP conversation at that point. And he was just unbelievable. I think they've just, I don't know what it is, whether it's Cliff Kingsbury, which I think a lot of people are quite enjoying jumping on, whether it's that and it's just them kind of running out of steam or whatnot. I think it's just a matter of fact, like DeAndre Hopkins hasn't been fit for a while, for this back end of the season. And I think it shows how good he is, how much attention he takes from the defense and just how good he is at catching the ball. Yeah, dude, who do I have coming out on top? I think I'm going to go LA. I think Arizona are just not running out of steam, but kind of running out of steam. They're ambling towards the end a little bit. And I think LA, they're kind of the Jekyll and Hyde of the NFL this year. Like they are the 2021 NFL season as a team. You know what I mean? Like 1 week they'll turn up and they'll blow you away. OBJ will be insane. Cooper Kupp, I mean, he's probably the best offensive player in football, certainly this past season. All those guys, just coming out of the blocks, but then you can just have days where Matt Stafford throws pick sixes to the Ravens like it's fun. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I think the Rams will win. It'll be interesting to see Matthew Stafford in his first playoff game for the Rams. Doesn't have a playoff win yet. Will he get that elusive result? I think so, but we'll see.
Yeah, Stafford going to the playoffs with a different team. First time he's been to the playoffs in a very long time. He talked about that first game. Murray threw 24 times, 268 and 2 touchdowns. But Chase Edmonds ran for 120 yards on 12 carries that game as well. It was a big game. It was a huge game for Matt Stafford as well. 280 yards, a touchdown, interception as well, and over 100 plus yards rushing as well. These are so high power teams, aren't they, Adam? Both of their offense on the day can be so high power. And their defense, though they have names, Chandler Jones, Byron Murphy, Buda Baker, Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, there's named on these defenses. They can both equally be so great and yet equally be so poor at the same time. There's got to be fireworks in Hollywood, like Andrew said, right?
Yeah, I mean, you would expect it, wouldn't you? I mean, there's not. They're just, when you, like you say, with the defenses, they have got the names, but they don't seem to be able to stop the points. It just doesn't, they just seem to let it go all the time. I think it is just because the offenses are so strong. I don't know if Hopkins is back. Is he meant to be playing?
I'm not sure.
That's something we're all a little bit unsure about at the moment. I think that could be the difference, to be honest. I mean, he is so good, and also he takes the main defenders away. That's the thing. So I think because of that, it is very much, if he plays, I think the Cardinals have got a chance. Matthew Stafford has thrown quite a lot of interceptions in the last few weeks. He's not looking great at all. But I do think they will probably sneak through this one, just because I think without Hopkins, the Cardinals will struggle. But I don't think they'll be going any further, the Rams. I think it'll be this game, and then whoever they play, I mean, based on what we're kind of saying, it'll probably be the Bucks. I think that'll be the end of them there. So, but yeah, for this one, I think the Rams will probably get through, but I think it'll be probably quite a high scoring, but quite close game as well. So.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one. It's weird because their like speciality on defense is flipped. So the Cardinals has the 7th best passing defense, but the 20th best rushing defense, and yet the Rams have the 22nd best passing defense, but the 6th best rushing defense. So they're like skill set flips, which is so like it's going to be so fun to see, and it's going to be. Kyler Murray and Matt Stafford, really very different quarterbacks, but it's going to be such a showdown in Hollywood. Andrew, thank you for joining us. I really, really appreciate you coming on. We've already said our Super Bowl predictions a lot of times in the seasons, but who are you thinking is going to be at the Super Bowl in LA this year?
Who is going to be in the Super Bowl in LA? I'm going to go with. Who am I going to go with? I'm going to go with Kansas City. I think they'll turn up. They're getting hot at the right time, and their defense is playing well. I mean, we saw some patches recently where they've gone back to the week 5 a little bit, but I think the defense will hold just enough to carry them through to Super Bowl. In terms of the NFC, I want to say Packers, but
you don't have to. You really don't have to.
Yeah, you know what? I'll say Green Bay. I think let's go with that. I think that would be an amazing Super Bowl as well. Aaron Rodgers against Patrick Mahomes, like that. That's what you want. Like that's as a neutral in that scenario. That's what you want to see for sure.
You just wait. There's going to be a bloody Steelers-Eagles Super Bowl. The 7th seed be the 7th seed in the Super Bowl. How bad would that be? Again, Andrew, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate you coming on. Adam, thank you again for joining us. Make sure you check out all of our stuff online. We're going to be here every step of the way for the playoffs. If you have any playoff betting needs, go check out Star Sports Betting for all your betting needs through the playoffs. Also, our betting videos coming out. The fantasy season is now over, so I don't believe we'll be doing them shows anymore, but we will have some of the preview shows on the Sunday as well. But until then, have a good rest of your week. Start planning your weekend because it's going to be a late one, but it's going to be a fun one. Get the snacks in, get the booze in, and enjoy. See you soon.